you watched the previous video, you probably already know that I started a collaboration with BMW, who gave me the opportunity to drive two wonderful cars for a fairly good amount of time. So in the previous video you saw the BMW M235i, while today I'm showing you the other car. I'm talking about the BMW Z4 M40i. This car is amazing. Let's start talking about the design. The design is super aggressive, which is something that you would expect from such a sport and fun roadster car. If you look at the side, you see that big line going from the top of the front air intake until the rear lights, and it really gives a fast look to the car. If we look at the front, it's super aggressive, and we have this new thing, which is the Angel's Eyes LED lights, which, I mean, it's not the lights that are new, it's the design. Because they used to be horizontal, while in this car they are vertical. If we look at the rear, sorry about the way I walk, you probably know what happened to me. So if we look at the rear, we see this spoiler, which is not just meant for design, but it's functional. It gives a very important downforce to the car. The rear lights have this L shape, and if you look at the bottom, we see this very big... I forgot the word to name that. You know, it's not just meant for design as well as the spoiler, but it's meant to give downforce to the car by making the air flow upwards. We have two exhausts, and one very important thing that if you look carefully and compare it to the previous version, you can notice is the cockpit. The driver and the passenger cockpit is more shifted towards the center of the car. That's meant not only for the design, but especially for the weight distribution, which now, thanks to this cockpit, it's more balanced between the rear and the front. Another super important thing is the rooftop, which is not anymore made of metal, but it's made of fabric, which is kinda rigid if you touch it. Oh, okay, I saved the camera. So, I was saying, it's very rigid if you touch it, and not making it of metal made it 55 kilograms lighter. And that does not only make the whole car lighter, but it also shifts toward the bottom, the center of mass of the car, and that allows the car to be more stable and more drivable. What's pretty cool about that is that you can super easily open and close it by just pressing the switch, and it completely closes and opens in 10 seconds. And not only you can open and close it while driving, you just need to be slower than 50 kilometers per hour. And the thing that amazed me the most, considering that I have another cabrio car, which I don't know if you saw it in the English channel, but you know, the problem of the other car is that the trunk is not existing. And I'm not exaggerating, it actually doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, but with the roof closed, you can put a bag, but with the roof opened, you cannot put anything, because the trunk is used to store the roof. While in this car, you cannot believe it. Look at the trunk. It's like a normal car, even if the roof is opened. Look at all the room you have. You can put two huge travel bags in there. I can even fit it if I don't have a broken foot and vertebra. I will try it, but it's not the best idea. Another design super cool thing that I love is the wheels. I truly love the design. And not only the design, also the color, which matches the mirrors and these two air intakes. Now let's talk about the engine. Obviously this car comes out in various engines. This one that I have, which is the M40i, is equipped with the 3000 B-Turbo V6 engine with 250 kilowatts or 340 horsepower. And the thing that amazed me the most is that every time you think about 3000 V6 B-Turbo, you end up thinking about all the money that you have to pay for the fuel, especially here in Europe, where the fuel costs a lot. Well, what's incredible is that if you don't push like hell, but if you go normal, the fuel consumptions are super low. I would have never expected such a high efficiency. The gearbox, you have 8 gears, which can very useful when you're driving in a highway and you want to save fuel. You put up the 8th gear, 2000 RPM, even less, and you save fuel and money. In this version, which is the M40i, is mounted the sport differential, which is developed from the motorsports and allows the car to be much more stable. It's also equipped with the adaptive sport setup, which makes the suspensions more stiff and reactive when you go in sport mode, allowing the car to be less comfortable but more performing and more stable. And you also have the variable sport steering, which is some kind of progressive steering. So if you just turn the steering wheel a bit when you're driving fast, the car is very precise, while when you have to steer a lot, either for parking or for very sharp turns, the car steers a lot. Now, I want to show you the inside, and what's cool about this car is that you can see them from here. Also my crutches, pink, which are super fancy. Now, the way this car opens is exactly the same as the M235i. You can either use the app, or with the key, you just get close to the car and it opens. And to close it, you simply touch here and the car closes. Now, this car inside is amazing. I love the color, which in this precise model has this combination of black and red. The lines are super aggressive. In the night you can even see some lights. And the cockpit is quite identical to the M235i. We have this central screen, which has an enormous amount of functionalities. You have the navigator, which works with an integrated SIM card, so you don't need to use your phone. It can be connected to Android or iOS. You can have Spotify installed on the car, and you have really any touch screen, and this is one thing that I love. Also, the dashboard is 100% screen, and you also have the heads-up display, which is something that I love, that projects the navigator, the phone calls, the speed limits, your speed, whatever you want, all the important things that you need to watch on the front glass. The sound system is amazing. It's from Harman Kardon, and if you look here, you have the subwoofer, making the music experience so awesome. You have various places to put your stuff, and one amazing thing that I noticed is that here you have the wireless charging module. And I didn't know it. I just put the phone one day there and I found it 100% charged, and I said, wow, I didn't know that. Also here you have this super useful thing where you can put all your stuff. You can put 2 glasses or 2 bottles. And another thing that I love is that the designers thought about comfort. So if it's open, you cannot put your elbow, but you can just close one side of it and rest your arm. Also on the door, you have your armrest, which makes driving this car a super comfortable experience. These seats are awesome. You have many switches on the side that you can use to adjust the height, the position, and really, if you are obsessed about the driving position, you will definitely find yours in this car. Here you have all the controls, like the start-stop engine, shifter, the driving modes, this mouse that allows you to control the cockpit. The steering wheel, I love it. It's kind of rubber made. Ah, you wanna touch it? You wanna bite it? I love it. And one other thing that I use every day is the voice control. If you just say, "Ciao BMW."
Ciao, come posso essere utile?
Naviga verso Vimercate.
Ha detto Vimercate.
Woohoo! This is amazing. When you're driving, you just say, "Call this number," and she calls that number. You can either activate it by saying "Ciao BMW," or you can activate it by saying "Ciao" and you set a custom name, or by pressing the switch on the steering wheel. So guys, this car is awesome. I literally fell in love with it and I can't stop driving it. So, exactly like the M235i, we have 3 different driving modes. We start from the comfort mode, which is the most comfortable one, and then it gives you full power if you need it, but the suspensions are soft. So I was truly amazed by that, because I couldn't believe that even if you go on the bumps, the car is comfortable. It doesn't feel like a sport car. But as soon as you switch to sport mode, as soon as you push the throttle, it's immediate. Look at this. It's like electric. Almost no delay. Also, the important thing is that when you switch to sport mode, the suspensions get stiffer, so it's more hard. So especially in the fast corners, the car is much more stable, because while with the comfort mode, the car moves a bit because it needs to be comfortable, with the sport mode, it's stuck on the ground. Then, if you switch to Eco Pro, if you push the throttle, it's like having 50 horsepower. It's so smooth, so gentle to save fuel. But if you need to overtake and you push it at full, you get all the power you need. So really, these 3 driving modes, it's like having 3 different cars in one. It's insane. Also, you can disable the traction control with the switch, and what it does is that it's pretty cool, because with all the controls enabled, this car allows to have fun even the most basic driver, because you can make a corner with full throttle and the car, and you don't risk to lose car. But if you disable the traction control, what happens is that you can let the rear wheel spin, so you can exit the corner drifting a little bit. But if you drift too much, the control strikes in and lets you control the car. While if you keep it pressed, you can disable everything and drift as much as you want. It also has all the kind of driving aids, like adaptive cruise control, which adapts the speed and the distance from the car in front of you. You have the collision alert, the park assist, the rear camera, the parking sensors that makes you realize how far you are from obstacles, the reverse assistant, and probably there are more and I missed some because nowadays in these cars the amount of safety systems are insane. Now I know that you want to hear the sound. I just passed through a tunnel and this is what it sounded like. Woohoo! But one of the things that made me crazy, and it's something that my friends told me and I didn't believe them. Okay, you know that when somebody tells you something and you say, oh no, that's not true. They told me that these kind of lights, if they are set to, oh my god, I don't know how to say in English. The most powerful mode, okay, you risk to flash the eyes of the car in front of you. If you set them to automatic, what they do is that they flash everything but the car in front of you. And I didn't believe it. So when I went in the countryside and I switched them on, I saw that they were illuminating everything but the car in front of me. I saw a small rectangle of shadow just where the car were, and that's something insane. They also follow the road, so when you steer, they follow the road. I don't know how they do it, because they are not controlled by the steering. They steer even if you're not steering. I don't know. That's kind of magic, really. Wow, I love it. I just wanted to say thank you so much, BMW, for having given me the opportunity to drive these two wonderful cars. And if you want to have more information about this car, you can find the link in the description with all the information about the Z4. Thanks for watching, I hope you liked this video, and I'll be back soon with this car because the next video is going to be on track with this beast.